Wow. All right. Let's go. Let's get it. Apologize for the late call. I just ran in the fucking building. Uh, Took me a minute, but I'm here now. Well, welcome. What's motivating you this week? What's got you motivated is the question. And that's what we want to talk to you about. All right. Mm. Give me a quick minute here while I tell y'all what we about to do. hmm Oh yeah, just a minute here. No, gotta figure out where the hell I keep putting shit. Yeah. So today, we want to talk to you guys about motivation. Yeah. Trying to be motivated. It's something I think about all the time. And y'all know I'm just taking. All right, hold on a second. Just getting that going. Gotta be kidding. They be trying. They be trying. Yeah. Well, welcome back to another episode of Motivation Monday. I am your host of this show, The Peasy Show, Mr. J Guns, The Peasy's own Easy. Yeah, so it's a good, it's a deep situation. Deep situation. Mhm. Mm. Let me see here. I gotta put this in. Yeah, I'm just pinning something, pinning some things. So yeah, like I was saying, man, like it's been a crazy week, crazy weekend. I apologize for not showing up on Saturday, man. I just been really contemplating on whether or not my Saturday night cycles are making effects. Plus, I've been trying to devise a way to come up with the show in a way that actually resonates with people. Mhm. So it's been a lot of things we've been working on, a lot of new music we've been putting together, trying to get wrapped up. We have a definite setup that we're working on right now. It's a target we're putting together. We're about to take our expectations to the next level with a new process, a new project. You know, yeah, we about to take it to a whole new level, especially once we start doing what we got to do to work on the show, expanding the audience views, more attention, attendance, things of that nature. We're gonna start working on what it's gonna take to be a part of this show and make things expand here. You know, apologies, yo. I just want to apologize again for making this thing possible because things are just, been ridiculous out here. Um, over the last few days, this past week, over the weekend, actually, something new came into my attention. Um, I was posting on Mr. J Guns' show, the Mr. J Guns TV on YouTube, and the Mr. J Guns page on Facebook. Uh, and we were just basically talking and telling y'all about the music that we're working on, we're putting together, and we're going to be creating a new elementary to our repertoire. And it became somewhat of an idea that I put together. And before I could even get started, man, like I realized something was going down in the town, and it was very much alive with this situation. I was getting ready to start the show, and I received an Amber Alert. And y'all know what the Amber Alerts are. Those of us who have been around for a long time, we have noticed getting messages in our phones, emergency messages lighting up our phones, disturbing our little moments of silence that we're looking in our screens and watching something or paying attention to something else. And this notice comes across, missing child. Um, I later seen a news clipping that came up in the same day about this Amber Alert, and it was a 10-month-old young little girl, baby still, you know, who was missing. Um, the situation had become a little more intense as the hours went by. Um, once ending the show, I then later found out that the baby was found. Uh, Unfortunately, the baby did not make it. She was found dead in a shed. Uh, Cause of death was hypothermia. And what's even worse about this situation is the baby was an abducted. At least that's what the police believe. Because as of now, they have charged the mother with I didn't see the standing charges, but I'm pretty sure it's child abandonment and you know murder at this point. Um, it's sad. It is very very sad, and we we talk about a lot of things here on the show, and one of the things that I wanted to bring to your attention today is the motivation that I have this week, and the motivation that I've contained this week is about these situations. I am motivated this week to make a difference in my day in the next coming days. I would like to be motivated, and I would like to motivate myself and others to be more vigilant, to have mercy on yourself, and be willing to absorb any advice, wisdom, enrichment that is going to positively charge your life. You know, I've been around for such a long time now. For me, we're pushing 40 years on this earth. I've seen things and I've heard. And through the years of my life, you know what I mean? All I keep thinking about is, are we taking the time to suggestively consider whatever these things we want out of life in this country that we live in? Are we considering the children, what effects they have to live through, to grow in? It's not a it's not a safe space when you look at the fact that people are hurting each other. People are less likely to concern themselves with the truths of the days, things that should be absorbed as meaningful information. You know what I'm saying? But it's being taken and twisted into these fictitious stories, sense of AI, and many different things that people have started incorporated in their lives of life. Thank you. But it's like, I really don't think that in this situation that we actually take the time to think about how our choices now affect our children later, you know. And it's quite a puzzling thing for me because I sit back and I try not to engage in things that, you know what I mean, don't concern me. But when you look at the fact that a community is like a small household in a macro, what is it called, micro and macrocosm, and it's not the values that we had before. I see that one thing that I've noticed in the community of families is, it used to be okay, it used to be safe to go visit a neighbor in the neighborhood, knock on their door and ask them for something. And most times when I was a younger kid, you know what I mean, my mom used to send my mom used to send me over to my neighbor's house, which was her friend, and we had, you know, neighbors all the way up the block that we could go to, and you know what I mean, we would always be able to obtain assistance, help. Um, this is not that day. This is not those days. We're realizing that now we have people that are disgruntled. You know, we have people who don't want any interaction with, you know what I mean, with society or humankind, and once prompted to have to engage, they, you know what I mean, come out of this situation more angry. And this often adds more fuel to a fire that has been stewing and all over the fact that, you know, we have begun to retract into a more reclusive nature when we should be compressing ourselves, trying to find the, you know, the best way to work together to defeat the odds that are against all of us. I mean, we have people that have taken things away from our valued American society that really just, you know what I mean, used to be things that we put in place. Our grandparents, our great grandparents put these things in place because they knew that this would not only affect them, but it affects us too. And what I've realized is we've taken our ancestors, the people that bled, beat, and died just to be somebody's number on that line, and a number that's added to a list of numbers in this ballots situation. I said this before, but I'm gonna say it one more time. You should know by now that if you're black and you hear or you think that voting doesn't matter, look around you. Understand that the state of Tennessee, state of Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, and all southern states at this point have enacted a harsh voting rights just restriction. They have attempted to lock people out of voting by changing laws in different states that make it harder for you and me to go into those polls like we used to, like our grandparents used to, like our parents used to, and do the thing that all Americans should rightfully be able to do. This is disturbing if you ask me. Here we are in the 21st century. It's 2024. And in this year, we are still struggling with the fact that American citizens are being disenfranchised mainly because of miseducation, misinformation, and disinformation that is dissolving the campaign pledge that we made with our forefathers, our ancestors, that we would continue the fight. Some people choose to fight in different ways. I believe we're walking into a phase in our lives right now, this year and the years coming, when it comes to this political field, we really have to focus. We really have to be able to put our energy into our communities as we do our everyday lives, because this affects the everyday flow of our life. Here we have two people we're looking at when it comes to presidential elections. Both of these people have something to offer. One may be better than the other. I don't know what y'all are seeing out there, y'all, but I don't see nothing as far as sight. What I am hearing that is giving me more of a visual is the fact that we have witnessed what change can look like when the right people control the situation. Unfortunately, one of these individuals does not have our best interest. One of these individuals only has self interest. And I'm being honest when I say this, because I start to analyze this whole situation. You know, 2016, we hear, thank you, black people, for not voting or for not going to the polls. Your neglect of your civil duties is who enriched the man that is trying to come back into the White House. Um, and I know this don't sound like something y'all probably want to hear right now, but I'm really just being somebody that's talking about this situation as I think about what's going on outside of my own home. Um, I've been living in this community for a little more than 5-6 years now, and in the time that I've been here, I have come to the realization that we're in a space where people have really gotten it in their heads that this is the thing to do. I caught a couple of clips, just thinking about this whole situation. Um, in just the last 3 months in this city, there have been over a dozen shootings. I don't care how these guns are getting out here on the streets. The problem is they're out here on the streets and they're killing people, kids included. Earlier this year, I seen an article, and I hate to say seen because I know you guys don't know that you guys know I can't see. But I remember reading an article, and it was talking about a young group of kids that were outside of school. It was just outside the time when school had ended. And this group of children walking home from school or, exiting the school was then hit with some, hit with just random people shooting and with no concern. I believe that we are falling into a phase of war in our own cities and states. And I'm unclear about the reasoning behind all of this. Why is this occurring at a time in our history when we have the power to change things, make things different for the better, make things better? Yet we are so caught up in the idea that your gun isn't bigger than my gun. Like, I wish that people would stop utilizing their egos and start using their brain, because we get too caught up in that ego situation. And this is a conversation that I remember having with my cousin. Shout out to my cousins for bringing this up, because she said, we have to stop thinking with our units and be able to decipher the things that we are destined to do in our lives with our brain and our heart, because these give you the best observation of your situation. When we start to think with our units, our ego stands in. This is not always a good outcome, because as I was saying to my cousin the other day when we were talking about this, it ain't never got no good ideas. And I'm quite tired of failing in that aspect. Getting too old to be considering the restart of all this stuff that we keep fumbling and bumbling. So, thinking about all of this, me personally, I'm only speaking to y'all because I know I only got a few minutes left in the time. But at the same time, I feel like this is the perfect opportunity to bring this kind of a conversation to the table, because I don't I don't know about y'all, but 2016 to 2020, not very hopeful for me. I mean, unlike the rich millionaires and the big corporations that got all the beautiful tax breaks they got, I didn't get any of that. I realized that the little guy like me didn't get any of those things, didn't get any regards in those. Um, when you look at the fact that, you know, one man brings in, bail reform, all that other stuff, which, not saying it was a, bad thing. There were, like all bills and policies, something in the bill and policy that doesn't sit with the American people. I mean, when you start noticing people are going to jail for something they've done, and what they've done in most societies in the real world, like where we used to look at these things, would have been considered crimes, serious crimes, like to sexually assault someone, would stand as a real charge. You know what I'm saying? And that person would sit. You know what I mean? But the judges who, rolled the laws into these policies decided they were going to take and modify certain charges. That's why we keep having a revolving door of certain situations. One of the things that I remember hearing about is, situations around rapists, domestic violence, assaults, and things of that nature that were dismissed. People were going to jail and coming right back out. Now, my thing is simple. Like, when you start to think about this situation, you would have thought that the lawmakers and the judges would have sat down to make the understanding of, hey, this probably shouldn't be the laws or crimes that we are just letting them leave from. When a 30-something-year-old man starts to sexually assault a young woman at 12 and 13 years old or younger, this is not a situation where we detain said person for a brief moment in time and then let them go. It's not right. And then we wonder why we hear statements like suburban moms don't feel safe in their communities. Well, what about the lower income? We live in war zones. And the reason why we live in war zones is because the low income and poverty level individuals in this state and country we live in are disregarded. Oh, we look at, well, they get food stamps. Well, they get this. Not everybody. Part and partial to the fact of why we have in this current year over 600,000 homeless people in the streets today. I honestly am just saying what I'm saying right now because I'm going to lay out the idea that you guys are overlooking at this point. Some of you guys are really looking at the fact that the other guy that we are looking at in this situation is old. Okay. I'm going to say something on that I've heard a bunch of other people that make sense about this whole thing say. You more concerned about his age. I'm concerned about the fact of if he's capable of carrying out his term. And who's going to be next if he doesn't get in? Who's going to be the guy that gets in if he doesn't? Because I'm telling you right now, anybody else that's on the other side of the aisle, as they like to say it, won't have your best interest at heart. I'm sorry. It's just not going to be that way. There's something that keeps replaying in my head. It's the idea that one party of people says that they're concerned about something. The idea was presented on many numerous occasions over just a 30-year span. They said that this is wrong, we need to fix it. Well, I just seen last month a proposal for a bill that would have sufficiently fixed the situation because it was just what the other party wanted. And since we have with this selection a person who is trying to work across the aisle so that we don't show partisan values amongst our individual people in this country, we find that the other party thinks that it's not a good idea to go through with this deal. Meanwhile, complain and make videos that are slandering someone, saying that they're not doing their job, they're not competent. Yet I've seen the exact statements that they made about this person relatively comparative to that person that we're talking about now. Like, I don't think you guys realize this man does not care about any of us if he walks back in the door. If he walks back in to the White House, he's actually not concerned about anything that the American people want. All this America First situation that you guys are hyped up over, he's really not concerned. His America is who he cares about. This man is literally facing 91 indictments. I don't see how y'all guys are literally like siding with this man, thinking that he has a plan, because it's not something that includes you. I'm telling you right away, this is not something that includes you. Um, we really have got to start to take our time to analyze the things that are going on outside today. We have AI that is being used slanderously to present propaganda, to make something seem more than what it really is. It just doesn't make sense. Like, we knew that these things would be able to do this, capable of altering a person who we know, who we maybe don't know, and making it so that they do or say something in front of your eyes as if that is actually the person and that is actually the thing that they did. How are we not seeing this, y'all? I mean, I'm gonna say this because I think that this is important. If you look for information, if you're looking for information, you first have to know the facts before you start investigating and going down these different pipelines and holes that you find yourself in. I'm sorry, but everything you see with your eyes is not always the truth. Believe me, I've learned that, and I've not been able to see in almost 10 years now. But I don't just fall into everything, I don't just side with everything. We've actually come to witness fictitious videos, fictitious photos. You should have known that this was possible after filters became an accessory on our social media. These things really have a way of altering a person's perception, of devising a sort of truth that we don't think about before we agree with. There's so much going on, and it's so easy to get caught up in the lies because, as we already know, and we're well aware, lies travel faster than the truth. We've got to do better about this. We're now facing situations that are causing our children to be affected. You're saying that we shouldn't teach our children about the history of our country. Oh, it's fine to talk about the, world wars, or, the fact that we have such a diverse country, but it's not okay to talk about the things that we have yet to even tap into. Unfortunately, folks, we have still not been openly holding a conversation about the history of this country. And it's not just the constitutions or the 4th of July. What about the fact that the civil rights movement was because of the unfair practices taking place in our country at that time, that people had to feel the need to fight politically just to get the rights reserved that we have now. And we're starting to see a set of people that have come to this country and started to decide, no, we don't need those things. After our aunts, uncles, cousins, family members from previous generations fought for these rights, died for these rights. I'm only saying this because of the simple fact that I remember reading and learning and hearing about why the civil rights movement was so, you know, important in our lives. Why it's still important to fight for our rights as individuals in this country. It's sad to me when we sit back and we look at the fact that we've gotten to a point where we've lost interest in the things that help us to become whole. This is why we have legislation that is completely opposite of what the American citizen wants to see happening in their cities and towns, states. These situations affect us. Maybe they don't affect you right now. Maybe they ain't affecting you later. But it will come a time where these things will happen and they will affect you. We actually have someone who is concerned about American values, and they want to help to expand things that we need the most: healthcare, proper education, employment. Like, these are things that we have structured in our lives, and we know that these things are essential to us as human beings. A child can't develop without education. We can't support our families without employment to pay the bills. All of these things are well needed. We sit back and we're talking about the fact that, you know, one person is too old and he can't remember this, and can't remember that, and losing interest in this. And I don't know what to tell y'all, man. I just know that we're living in a world where our time is running out, and it's up to us to make the right decisions for the betterment of our children. This is not nothing hard out here. We really have to consider the situation. We want safe schools. We want safe streets. We don't want to be bombarded with individuals that don't want to participate in the everyday routines of life. You know, get up, go to work, make your money, and pay your bills. We have got to find a method, you know what I mean, that is going to work for the communities that we're in to support the people that need the help the most. We got to stop being selfish out here. That particular motivation is something that I'm presenting to you because we live in a world where all of this stuff is possible if we focus on the fact that we work together and not separated on all of these issues that are plaguing our communities. I mean, like, it's not hard for me to make the decision. Thank you. It's not hard for me to make the decision because I have seen how hard things can be when we stop participating. So wherever you guys are, wherever you are tuning into this show, if you're hearing this information, you're hearing this conversation, I'm only saying this to you because I realize how deep it really gets for us. We have got to do better about what we are demanding to see happening in this country because we are too busy with the I, me, and we when we really should be focusing on how we all can make these things, make a come up, because this is, I'm just saying, it's not gonna be just about one person or, something that only affects one person. People with political power have our power to change the things going on in our communities. It doesn't help us if we don't pay attention now. Just not. But I don't know, y'all. But I hope you guys take this message and work with me. Think about the fact that we have families, we all have someone that we are responsible for. And if we don't act on the best values and best interests of the people around us as well as ourselves, then we're never going to be able to move forward. We're never going to be able to see change. We're always going to be stuck in a situation that we could have changed and made better. So y'all tap in with me tomorrow. We have New Wave Music Wednesday. Oh, I'm sorry. Talk about it Tuesday, where we're going to present to you guys a conversation with a topic on deck. And if you're interested, please feel free in tapping in with us. Tomorrow's a new day. I'm all for it. And if you have time, I have time. So please stop by and see what we got going on tomorrow. I appreciate you for tuning in tonight. Please feel free to stop by again and see what we do. The Peasy Show is out. Peace. Bye bye.
Face. O-E-T. Yes. Let's go. Yeah. Come on. Yeah. You know what time it is. Hey. Grab your camera phones and your device. Kick off your shoes and grab yourself some popcorn, baby. Cause the Beezy Show is online Monday through Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern, baby. Grab your camera phones and your device. Kick off your shoes, grab yourself some popcorn, baby. Cause the Beezy Show is online, so come chill with us. We sure gon' have a good time, baby. We got the vibe. Welcome to my room. Yes, I'm blind. Monday, Saturday live. East Coast time. Yeah. We on the rise. Choose, enjoy the ride. What we can do, motivate minds. Like Motivation Monday, all up on your life. I make you try, thinking and climb. Like waste of time. We get the Wednesday where we can ride to new wave music where they live in this pride. Thursday, we don't talk to me. Open mic and me. You can share your time to me. But I like Saturdays. But I'm on Saturday. You can rock the stage, but you only got 30 minutes on the string. So what you come along with me? You can be a part of me in the biggest team. I call my PP Weekly Peace. Weekly on the burner seat. Once you come join with me, you can be a part of me in the biggest team. I call my PP Weekly Peace. Weekly on the burner seat. Talking about it, I want them talking about it. Tell them all around it. Tell them let them talk about it. Talking about it. I want them talking about it. I'ma tell them all around them. Tell them let them talk about it. Talking about it. Come on and talk about it. Tell them all around the world. Let them talk about it. So grab your camera phones and your device. Kick off your shoes and grab yourself some popcorn, baby. Cause the Beezy Show is online Monday through Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern, baby. Grab your camera phones and your device. Kick off your shoes, grab yourself some popcorn, baby. Cause the Beezy Show is online, so come chill with
Motivation on a Monday, topics to try on a Tuesday. New wave music on a Wednesday. Talk back Thursday, Friday. Can't wait to the open mic. Got a cypher on Saturday. Do it like a holiday. Ain't nobody messing with the Beezy Show. We come back like a payday every weekly. So grab your camera phones and
get your device. Kick off your shoes and grab yourself some popcorn, baby. Cause the Beezy Show is online Monday through Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern, baby.
What up, fam? I'm glad you told. What up? Act with you didn't already know that I'd come through and smash for show. I got no love for them trash ass hoes, but if she a dime, I might serve up a little bit of dick to this breezy, bro. It ain't no rhyme to busting nothing. These hoes make it way too easy, though. Hop on the beat so you kill some shit and put it down for the Beezy Show. Man, chop it up and talk with him during an interview, but y'all never see me talking to the police, ho. Game recognized, game real, recognized real. Y'all don't wanna smoke with shotguns. Don't be acting like I might have to pull the steel, and I promise you don't want it with my guns. Motivation Monday is how I like to start my week. Y'all, it's a 2020 vision, it's still crazy all the time. I get spotted by the blind MC. So take a moment and relax, and just let your head nod with the beat. Grab yourself some snacks and comfy seat, and go ahead and kick up your feet. Listen to a few tracks, the homie get a few facts, and you may even find a little bit of inspiration. Looking to do an interview with any cool artist, coast to coast across the nation. He goes from the East Coast, I rap on the West Coast, and see it's clicking up. What up, fam? Blood is thicker than water, but if you want beef with shotguns, I want to show you that your blood ain't thick enough. Don't collecting royalties, showing loyalties. Let me remind y'all once more that I'm Toph. Can't find a doper host on the east or the west, so make sure y'all tune into the Beezy Show.
Grab your camera phones and your device.
Know what I'm saying?
Kick off your shoes.
Y'all
Grab
tap
yourself
in,
some
man.
popcorn, baby.
Know what I'm talking about? Shout it live, man. Shout it live. 7 o'clock. East Coast time.
That's 4 o'clock on the West Coast. We out.
What?